Have you ever found that you learn a lesson better by seeing it, not just hearing it? That's often how the prophets taught. And we see this in Jeremiah in the chapters that we have today in our journey of 66 and 26. In Jeremiah 18, Jeremiah is not just to preach a sermon to Israel, he's to use an object lesson. And Jeremiah is told by God to go down to the local potter's house where he watches the potter shaping clay on a wheel. Something goes wrong, and the pot that the potter is forming is damaged, and he does what potters do. He doesn't just discard the clay, he reshapes it. And as verse 4 says, shaping it as seemed best to the potter. And there's a lesson in this for all of us. First, that God is the potter and we are the clay. God is the one who shapes as he sees fit. As he says, if I announce that a nation or kingdom is to be uprooted, torn down, destroyed, and if at another time I announce that a nation or kingdom is to be built up and planted, is that not my right as the potter? And it is. And there's humility in that, because we have to learn that we are not God. God is God, and he fashions as he sees fit. He plants and he uproots. He builds and he tears down. He governs nations and he governs lives. There's a second lesson also in these chapters, and God goes on to tell Jeremiah that he is about to smash the nation that is represented by the clay pot made by the potter. The pot that represents Judah. This is 600 years before Jesus, when after the nation of Israel had been divided into two, north in Israel, Judah in the south, and the northern kingdom already carried off into exile, already destroyed. That was the nation of Israel. And then the nation of Judah, which was left of all the people of Israel after that, before the time of the fall of Babylon, God is telling these people that they've been unfaithful. They've been following other gods. They have chased after their own desires and turned away from the Lord. And he is about to smash this clay pot that represents the people of Judah. Now, that is sobering news. But here's the gospel hope in it. The same chapter that talks about God smashing the clay pot also reminds us that the potter doesn't just discard the pottery. He doesn't discard the clay. He reforms and he reshapes it. He recreates it. And that is what God does through Judah 600 years after this moment of Jeremiah. The potter comes into our world. Potter takes on clay, our human flesh, and he chooses to be crushed for our sin, to be crushed to pay the punishment, pay the price for what we deserve. So we don't get smashed by God's wrath and judgment. Jesus took that on himself. And we remember that the potter always has a desire to craft what is good and to reform what has been damaged. And that is what God does in Christ for us. We are clay, but we are held in nail-scarred hands of the great potter.